Hi again, this is Professor Innes, and we are now on, I'll just get it up here on the screen, Module 7. So, Module 7 of our course, and we're now discussing Locke's empiricism within the branch in philosophy which we call epistemology. So, in epistemology, we are asking these questions about knowledge, if knowledge is attainable and how it could be attainable. So far you've read about Descartes, and he has made it quite clear that sense experience is totally misleading, and to the point we have to reject all sense experience. Therefore, any knowledge, according to Descartes, must be gained through the use of abstract thought, abstract reason, and we use mathematics and any subject which derives from mathematics, such as physics, for example. He believes that this subject called mathematics is independent of humanity, independent of human creation, therefore it's totally infallible in nature. Of course, that is to be held in doubt, but for the time being, for this course, we'll just leave that and say we're not going to deal with the argument that maybe mathematics is human-made. But for him, he thinks it to be independent of humanity and us, and therefore it can be used to gain certain knowledge. So that was Descartes' consideration. Um, and with that, our concentration now will be experience with John Locke. John Locke sees that experience is highly questionable, is very doubtful in many respects, but unfortunately that's all we've got to rely upon. Experience is what we refer to do anything in the world. So in that sense, for example, those who developed the jet engine could not have developed the jet engine unless the propelled engine was in existence beforehand. So things are developed, and they are developed through experience. The jet engine just did not come from nowhere. There is an argument to say it did in many respects. It's all based upon reason, but for the empiricist, it's simply the case that the jet engine could not have come into being unless there was the propelled engine beforehand. So experience is of great importance with John Locke. So moving on from Descartes to John Locke, experience is referred to, and it's seen as being still questionable. We still have lots of problems in bearing our knowledge based upon experience. But as we've just said here, with John Locke, we've got no real choice in the matter. We have to rely upon sense experience to come up with this knowledge. So with John Locke, he comes up with all these parts of his argument, such as we're born with a blank slate and thereafter his ideas are imprinted upon it. He comes up with the idea that reason is needed to make sense of the external world, namely experience, but only a bit. I say with John Locke it's 95% experience and 5% reason used to understand the external world. I just use that as an arbitrary indication here. I don't know if it's 5% or not. It's just it is a fraction in comparison to, a minor fraction in comparison to the experience which we use to understand the external world. So experience is everything. So the implications here are quite stark, that really we can't come up with inventions. We don't invent anything, we develop things. Your essay in history is based upon previous essays in history. You are not going to come up with some bright new idea as Descartes may have imagined you could have. For John Locke, your ideas are based upon previous research and previous ideas. So your development will be a fraction of what Descartes may have expected. For John Locke, our development is, fair enough that it's beneficial to the development of knowledge, but it's no leap, it's no bound forward here. It's a step at most. So in that sense, we in our academic world, in our everyday world, are just dealing with what's already there, and we develop that, and we do progress nonetheless, but not to massive leap forwards as argued by the rationalists, particularly with Descartes. So hopefully that makes sense. So I'll give you the journal entry, the journal replies right now, which are in relation to John Locke. So when you write your initial journal entry, you then come on to here, and then you take these 3 prompts. So the first prompt is, tell me about Locke's view of the blank slate. So number 1, tell me about Locke's view of the blank slate. Number 2, does Locke say knowledge is innate? Number 2, does Locke say knowledge is innate? And number 3, what role does reason play in gathering knowledge? Number 3, what role does reason play in gaining knowledge? So deal with those 3. I'll reply to your journal entry, and then you can deal with these particular aspects. They're important because once you understand these 3 points, you've got a really good understanding of John Locke. That's why I'm doing it like this. Sounds a bit strange, but modern methods are a bit strange. I could just lecture for half an hour, it would be fine. And, but no, that doesn't work. Lectures don't work anymore if they ever did. These methods used here are very quite effective, and we might even say, ironically for this bit, they're empirical in nature. They're allowing the student to do some investigation and allow them to look at the textbook, do some thinking, and then do some writing. Instead of it being something which is just going to come to mind, as the rationalists may think it to be. Here you actually have to do some work to understand the subject. So that's quite empirical in nature. Right, so back to John Locke. We've got this understanding, or as we said here, that knowledge is gained through experience and just a fraction of reason. So we've got to emphasize here, what prospects does this have for the human race? I think we've implied that the prospects are quite healthy. I mean, it's the case we are going to develop things. Things are going to come along nicely, but nothing new and unique. In that respect, yeah, like we said with your academic research, you're going to make a contribution, but it's not going to be some fantastic paradigm shift of invention or discovery. Well, or invention, I'd say. All we're doing is discovering new things. So if we consider the scientists coming up with new things, they're not new, they're just developments of what's already been there. So we can't really say here, right, this scientist is a genius. They've come up with something new and unique. For the empiricists, it's simply the case they've come up with something which is a development of what's already there. So we have to dispense with these notions of genius. We have to dispense with these notions of something being new, which was not here before. Now, is this narrow-minded? In the text, there's a hint of narrow-mindedness here. That this is so blinkered that, you know, it doesn't allow for those inspirational mind events whereby we come up with something new. Well, fair enough, but maybe that's all we can come up with. Maybe us understanding that experience is everything. It says what our limitations are as human beings, that our understanding of knowledge is limited. So, yes, it's rather pessimistic, I suppose, but if that's all we're capable of, then that's the way it goes, I'm afraid. There's no point in saying here the rationalists have got it right, because I just don't like the slow nature of the empirical method. That doesn't mean to say that that doesn't mean to say that Descartes got it right and Locke is wrong. It just means you prefer Descartes and the rationalists. Preference of Descartes and the rationalists doesn't mean to say they're correct. It just means you don't like John Locke's argument and his slowness as far as knowledge is concerned. So that's one of the considerations we can put forward, and it's something we can think about, you know, whether or not we accept empiricism. Unfortunately, I don't think we've got the choice in accepting empiricism, because I think the modern day education system is empirical in nature. I don't think we teachers and you students hang around thinking that some inspiration is going to come to mind and it's all going to come together quickly. It takes a lot of hard work, and by the time you get your degree, you have a view of the world which you didn't have at the start. Now, you did not get this in a split second. You got this over the span of 4 years. Which is based upon hard work and research. So that sounds empirical to me. So in that way, I think we have no choice but to accept empiricism. But I'm going to let you think about that. I can't tell you what to think. It's just an idea. It's something of a devil's advocate, we might say, to have people think about this. Right, okay. So with that, this is John Locke's module here on empiricism related to epistemology and how we gain knowledge. So hopefully you're going to enjoy this module and enjoy the journal, and I'll speak to you online. Okay, thanks a lot, and let me know if you need anything doesn't work properly in the module. Let me know. If you need anything at all, let me know. That's why I'm here. Okay, speak to you soon. Bye bye.